Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today, this Wednesday evening, we have a webinar, and our host is Shanmugam Moorthy, who is one of Moolya. He's a thought leader. By designation, he is an associate desk manager. Has been with us in Moolya for almost 5 years now, and has an extensive experience in the field of software testing. He also recently won the Moolya Internal Testing Conference, which we're really proud of. And today he's gonna talk about the topic human learning model versus machine learning model. It is a nice combination of psychology, software testing, and a lot of other stuff. So I'm really excited. Shanmugam is not really keeping well, so I was kind of nervous if we could do this today or not, but he said that we are definitely going ahead. So over to you, Shanmugam. All the very best. If you do not feel well in the middle, we can take a pause and then continue this later on. You don't feel it.
Yeah, sure. No issues. I have all my medicines are ready, hot water and everything is ready. So I don't want to miss this chance to meet a lot of people here. First of all, thank you everyone for joining. I know it's late evening and tomorrow some of you might have your holidays on. So thank you so much for joining here. So before we start, I would like to kind of give a agenda of what we are going to talk here. Okay, so I have taken a kind of unconventional topic where people always talk about AI, machine learning, and other stuff. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to compare machine learning model with human learning model, which I feel like it can be fit into any space. Okay, so it's not only for the professionals. It is going to be kind of model which even a kid can be utilizing it, or a older person, whoever loves to learn, and whoever has interest in kind of coming out of the boundaries, they can kind of relate to it easily. Okay, so thank you so much. We'll quickly start it. Okay, so the topic is human learning versus machine learning model. So first we'll talk about a little bit about machine learning model. Okay, so you would have heard about machine learning and you would have heard about AI. So is it AI and machine learning the same? Not exactly. So machine learning is kind of a base for the AI. Because AI uses the machine learning model and try to achieve whatever the task it has been given. So basically, if you put into a diagram where AI is in the top and machine learning models in the next stage, and we have something called neural networks, where now you would have heard about ChatGPT and other AI related tools are coming in, which is using these neural networks and other machine learning models in order to actively participate in discussions with the human as if somebody is on the opposite side. Okay, so machine learning model is nothing but a kind of mathematical representation of the output of the training process. Basically, you create some mathematical calculations based on the data you have. Okay, and storing the data, analyzing the data, and trying to put a lot of mathematical calculations around it, and try to have a if else conditions here and there, and try to tag this data belongs to this particular information. All the association, everything will be talking about the models which is involved here. So in general, what is a machine learning model is, in a simple term, what I can say is it is a kind of a formula or a kind of predefined file which we have in order to handle your queries or your task. Okay, so also it is kind of a you can see here I have clearly mentioned that it can recognize certain types of patterns. Okay, so when I say predefined format, it is not exactly like it has to go with one answer. Okay, if your question is twisted little bit. Okay, based on the pattern, it can go with the multiple predictions and multiple answers here. So, and also one more thing, machine learning model and algorithm is totally different. Okay, algorithm is something where you have some kind of uh, predefined set of informations which you process based on the algorithm. But machine learning model is kind of set already kept based on the training it had on the machine learning part. Okay, so I quickly jumped into the models which we have. So we have two widely used learning models. One is supervised and one is unsupervised. So by the name, we can easily understand that supervised is a kind of a controlled environment where you can process the data or information which can be authenticated and other stuff. Maybe we can add value to the data or calculations and confidence scores and other stuff, so that it shows that the information which is flowing inside is almost authentic information. It is not just loosely sent information by any anonymous people. Okay. So the second category is unsupervised learning. So this is nothing like you ask a chat GPT about a question, and similar to that, 100 people or 1,000 people are asking the question, and they are trying to have a chat. Let's say a classic example where Taj Mahal is located. Okay, so this is the question you ask. So what if some people, they try to tag it into a different location than the Agra? Okay, so it calculates the information based on the maximum number of people's answer, and then it tries to give you the information. So that's where this unsupervised learning comes into picture. Okay, so quickly, if we go into the supervised learning, we have two models. One is classification and one is regression. Okay, classification is kind of input where you can say that it's a kind of a binary form. Okay, so yes or no, or true or false, or you have only two information which you can select. Okay, and also classification model kind of tags a large set of data into a single tag, saying that for example, if I take all the cricket World Cup and ICC trophy, so I can tag easily to Dhoni, right? If somebody asks for who is the captain won all the cups, ICC trophies, so it can easily come up with an answer saying that it is Dhoni, because Dhoni is tagged to that particular information. Okay, so the same way, regression is also having a similar kind of a pattern, but it is a little bit different, where multiple people asking same questions, it tries to fetch the information and tries to create a model around it and try to have a kind of combinations, and certain equations will be set. Okay, and it might try to give multiple answers as well based on the question what is asked. Okay, and if you come into the unsupervised learning, there is something called clustering. So clustering is nothing but a grouping. Okay, so as I said, it is unsupervised learning where you have multiple data and multiple information coming into one single group. Uh, so it kind of group based on that information which is flowing. For example, if again I can take the same classic example of Dhoni. So if people are trying to search for the ICC trophies and other trophies, it automatically goes and groups into one single tag, saying that these are coming under cricket. Okay, so but it doesn't clearly say that is it Dhoni who won all the ICC trophy or some other people. It basically groups the relevant information into one single cluster. Okay, and second thing is association rule. So by the name itself, it associates. Okay, when I say let's assume there is a person called Karthik. Okay, so the Karthik is into the acting field, and some other Karthik is in as a singer. Okay, so it based on your question and based on your answers that you type in. So it tries to tag the most searched information. Let's assume people are searching for the actor. It tags the actor to Karthik instead of singer. So even if you're trying to search for singer Karthik, but automatically it tries to fetch the actor Karthik because it associates immediately based on multiple people's request. Okay. So the last one is dimensionality reduction. So before going into the dimensionality reduction, inside the because I didn't cover the regression model completely, so I'll just pitch back on the regression model. So regression model has multiple things where we have decision tree, we have linear model. So where decision tree is based on multiple information, it tries to find out a common information which is tagged to that particular information. And linear is a kind of a line it draws, and above the line, if it has some information, it tries to categorize into some information or group it into some information, and below that line it tries to group the other information. Okay, so this is a regression model with multiple categories, linear and decision tree. So I hope you know what is a decision tree. I don't have to explain it since we don't have much time there. Okay, and when we come into the dimensionality reduction, okay, so again it is kind of completely based on the calculation, and it sets the variable for each and every information, a large data of information. It tries to set a variable and tries to provide some numbers to it, and it don't go whether the information is right or wrong. Okay, so this is about the machine learning model where we have certain categories and other things. Okay, so now let's get into a kind of quick interaction session. Okay, so I want you people to recollect, or it's a kind of a nostalgia moment where you would have studied for your exams during your school or college days. Okay, so or even now when you are a professional, you have to come up with a kind of quick learning sessions for your project, or maybe the project which demands you to learn some tools or technologies or whatever it is. Okay, so what is your technique that you used during your school or college days, or now? It can be anything. So you can quickly put it in the chat box so that I can quickly see it. If you don't know what kind of technique I'm talking about, so a few people, they try to read it multiple times, okay? Or a few people take hints and try to develop it during their examination. Few people just go through the images and videos. It can be anything. Yeah, of course, by hearting the answers, that is default, or we can call it as a rote memory. So practicing in a book. So basically, I think you people are talking about reading the book, right? Okay. Creating a formula sheet, almost like a hints, I guess. Okay. So are you people trying to do the same thing now? Or is it kind of changed from school to college? It is a different technique you used, and maybe now you're using a different technique. Good. Visually watching videos of the mechanism. Okay, good. First time reading fast, then repeat the same thing at least twice. Yes, we do that. Okay, good. Thanks for the quick answers. So why I ask these questions? Okay, you'll gradually understand what is behind these questions and answers. Okay, so there are something called learning styles for the human. Okay, we saw the machine learning models. Okay, now we are going to talk about humans, how human learns. Okay, so how human try to consume information when they got a new thing in front of them. Okay, so you would have seen kids. Okay, so if something is introduced to them, they immediately put it in their mouth, or they'll try to hold it and they try to touch it, right? So that's how the kid used to learn. So we have something called VARK model, okay, or VARK learning model, which is nothing but visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. Okay, so that is the abbreviation for visual, auditory, reading and writing and kinesthetic. So what is visual? I'll quickly go through the information so that we'll have a more interactive session at the last. Okay, I'll try to rush up. If it is too fast, please let me know so that I can slow down. So visual is nothing but you consume the information by watching a video or by looking into a graph or looking into a picture. So you even you can just try to understand from the images whatever you see. Okay, you try to learn from those images or videos or whatever you see with your eyes. Basically, if you see here, everything is involved with your organs. So visual is basically with your eye, and auditory is with your ears, and reading and writing is basically with your hands and basically with your mouth and tongue, whatever you are using. Okay, and kinesthetic is nothing but you use your body, your touch and feel. Okay, so auditory is nothing but you try to hear something and quickly learn it. I'm an auditory person. Okay, I don't need to sit and read a book. If somebody next to me can read a book for me, I can easily go and write the exam without any doubt. I can pass the exam also. I don't need to sit and read it because I'm an auditory person. If somebody reads it, I can go and write an exam. Okay. And the same way, I also take hints and I try to write it down. Okay. So I have a reading or writing skills as well. Okay. And the last thing is visual. So I somewhat try to see the images and try to understand it. But my primary things are auditory and writing. So reading and writing is basically you read it. It is very straightforward. Writing is you keep on write it twice or thrice, or uh, you would have seen that uh, if you are a last bench student, you would have experienced it. Your teacher would have asked you to write 100 times imposition or 50 times imposition. Why? Because teachers teach you with a whiteboard or blackboard, whatever they have. Okay, it's a visual, and they explain it once or twice to you. You didn't understand, so you don't have the auditory skills. Okay, and they try to give it to you, and they ask you to maybe kind of do it on your own, but you're not able to do it. So the last chance is, okay, I tried all three. So now the only thing is this person is having a reading or writing skill. So let him write it for 100 times. So this is how teachers try to understand the kids and they try to teach in the classroom. Okay. So I hope I covered visual, auditory, reading and writing, and kinesthetic. So kinesthetic, you obviously you touch and feel it basically. Okay. Uh, as I said, kids used to love touching it. Okay. So if I say that I have a sheet which is very smooth. Okay. If you never touched a smooth product, how you'll know that it's smooth? It is called a smooth, or how I feel. Okay. So basically, I have to give you the smooth sheet or maybe the smooth cloth and say that touch and feel it. Then you touch and say that, yeah, it is soft. Exactly. So that is smoothness. So this is how you learn. Okay. That's an example I want to quickly give it. Okay. And if you ask me, VARK model is the only model we have. No, we have other 4 learning styles as well, but those 4 styles are widely used for kids and other adults as well. Okay. So what are all the other 4 learning model we have is logical or analytical learners. So logical is nothing but people try to solve mathematical problems, or they try to set some logics. Okay, if they see some information, for example, I would say that somebody comes to you and say that, hey, I guess you're going to be rich. Okay, so you try to put a logic there and you try to see, have I won a lottery? Or no, this person doesn't know that I bought a lottery. Okay, next logic is, yeah, now the appraisal cycle is going on. Maybe I'm getting a good hike. I got a good rating. So this is how you put a logic there and you try to learn something. Okay, I'm giving a very vague example, but uh, I hope you understood the logical and analytical learners part. Okay, so next one is social or linguistic learners. Okay, so social and linguistic learners is people can easily learn something from the gatherings. Okay, so you would have seen people gather around and they talk about some topic, especially uh, guys used to talk about cars and bikes, and ladies used to talk about financial things, and maybe they love to explore new areas. Okay, so they try to have a conversation with the other people, and they try to learn more about that interest, whatever they are having. Okay, so that's social and linguistic. So basically, linguistic also is direct information that you can get. Linguistic is, my mother tongue is not Kannada, but I stayed in Bangalore for almost like 10 years. Now I can speak Kannada. How? Because my friends are Kannadigas, and I try to converse with them and try to have a good knowledge sharing session. When I say knowledge sharing session, it can be a good conversation by asking what does this word means in Kannada. So I learn it. So this is social and linguistic learners. So next one is natural learners, okay, or nature learners. So what is nature learners is it something talking about by birth you are a learner and you can learn anything? No. So people try to tend to compare everything with nature, or they try to learn something from the nature, or if they go and sit in a very peaceful environment where on a grass or on a ground, okay, muddy ground, you would have seen automatically your hand goes into the grass and you try to pluck it, or you try to do something, you draw something on the mud. So this is how you get connected and you try to learn something. So that is one of the way you connect with the nature and you try to compare it. One classic example what I can give for nature learners is Isaac Newton. So how he found gravity? Okay, he was sitting under an apple tree and suddenly apple fall down, and he was just thinking why apple didn't go up, why it came down. So that's how he invented uh, gravity, and he went on to invent multiple things as well along with the gravity part. Okay, so last thing is solitary learners. So solitary learners are uh, you would have seen your class toppers. So basically, they will try to go sit alone and they try to read and learn something. They don't like sitting in the gathering and read or learn something, or they want to sit in a peaceful environment and read. Okay, so that's solitary learners. Okay, so we go into the next section. See, whatever comes next, okay, you might not easily understand why I'm explaining this, and why I'm talking about all these stuff, psychological stuffs, or I'll give some information. Okay, but at last I will try to connect all these things so that you will have a kind of cumulative information and try to understand what exactly I want to conclude at the last. Okay, so it's a challenge time. Can anybody read it, or everybody can try reading it? I hope you would have seen these things in WhatsApp forwards and uh, other forwards where.
Yeah, it gives me a headache reading this.
but try your level best.
Yeah.
Exactly, fear is an emotion. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So fear versus scared. Okay. So fear is an emotion. Scared is the state of experiencing fear. Okay. So suddenly you see a dark thing in your room, okay, and you have a sudden fear that maybe it can be a ghost. Nobody's have seen ghost in real life, okay.
It is certainly a ghost. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not actually a fear, okay. You are scared because you think that there is something, okay. And you would have seen a lot of movies where the screens are waving around in a different pattern and your doors are hitting, so you think that definitely you'll associate it with the ghost, okay. You'll have something in your mind. So if you see the ghost, whatever the emotion you have, that is fear. If you see something which is not actually exist, that is, you are trying to have a state of experiencing a fear, okay. It's a near experiencing fear, okay. It's something different. Why I'm talking fear and scared, I'll come to the point later, okay. So now tell me any one innovative product or startup in India. Innovative product or startup. Okay, anyone?
Apna, I would say, because it gives a job portal for people who didn't have a job portal before.
Okay, good.
Google Pay.
Google Pay.
It's not in India. It's in India?
Google Pay is also available in India, but it uses UPI. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody has typed in cred. Okay, awesome. UPI. Okay, good. Okay, so let's take some easy example. Okay, so I can take maybe cred. Okay, because most of you would have heard about cred and UPI, right? So what is a UPI? It's a payment solution created by Indian government and in association with RBI, right? So before that, what was there? It was totally a different payment solution they had. Okay, also cred. What is cred? Cred is a payment solution for your credit cards. You can bring in all your credit cards to one location or one single app, and you can try to watch out of any missing payments, or you can see if you're spending too much. Okay, so everything comes into cred. Before cred, what was there? Nothing was there. So people were having a lot of issues where they were missing their payments, and they were trying to kind of paying extra money there. Okay, so cred founder found some problem there, and he wanted to uh, uh, bring up some solution for those problems, right? That's how new innovative products are coming into the market. Okay, for example, now Swiggy, Flipkart, e-commerce was nothing 10-15 years back. Okay, now you can see a lot of e-commerce companies are there, but the pioneer is Flipkart, right? So they saw some problem where people can't buy something from Rajasthan, which they would love to bring it to their home location, but they have to travel in order to go and buy it. Okay, so they solved that problem. At doorstep, you can buy anything. Food is also same thing. I'm at meeting, I'm not able to immediately go and eat somewhere because it is going to consume my time, and I have a quick meeting, so I can't go and buy outside and come back, right? So that's how Swiggy or some other people came up with a app where they can deliver at your doorstep. Okay, so let's come to the next section: curiosity versus necessity. So you would have seen there is no connection between whatever I was talking for past 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? So there is a huge debate with people whether the egg came first or the chicken came first, right? Same way, people also have a debate whether curiosity is the mother of invention or necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, so I would like to take you, I'll bring you to the caveman's age. Okay, so now you people are using different shoes for your sports activity or running. You use running shoes, and for badminton, you'll use badminton shoes. What was the initial stage of footwear by a caveman or whoever invented the first thing? What can be? Any guess? It's a question to all. Animal skin. Exactly. Okay, so it's all guesses, so that's not a problem if it is wrong. But animal skin, yes, correct. Stone, correct. Okay, so thanks for those answers. So I'll try to put my theory there. Okay, maybe we would have seen people using different shoes for different things, but initial stages, the caveman would have started feeling pain after stepping on a thorn or maybe on a sharp rock or something, right? So immediately they would have taken leaves or maybe animal skin immediately, and they would have tied it around their legs, right? Correct. So after that, so it started evolution happens after that, and you would have seen they would have turned into wood. Okay, you would have seen some olden pictures where rishis or somebody older people will be wearing a wooden sole where it has a pointing wooden thing where they can hold their leg, right? And they can walk for some distance. But they would have identified that there is a problem where you can't walk with the wood for a longer time because it is going to hurt you. So later point of time, they would have come with a rubber or something when the industrial revolution came. So slowly they would have invented something called chapel, right? For that, what was the initial spark? Or what was the, okay, one more question I would like to ask. What is the first invention of a humankind?
Fire, I guess.
Fire. Fire was the first one, or wheel? Somebody has typed in wheel or fire. So it's debatable maybe. So I whatever I know, it is fire. That's the first invention. How they invented fire? Is it necessity? Based on necessity they invented? No, they were curious.
Yeah, I think there was curiosity.
Right?
Yeah.
Then they took a wood and they lit it up and they were holding it for some time, so that the spark is used as a light for some time. Okay, then they invented something different apart from the lighting, right? So it starts with the curiosity and it becomes the necessity. How your smartphones are there. So they started with a phone, and then they came up with a mobile phone because people were curious, like what next? They wanted to solve some problem. So they were curious to bring up some innovative product, right? Even Apple invented a lot of things. They are an innovative company, we call them. Now maybe they are trying to come up with a lot of innovations to kind of woo the audience with multiple innovations. But if you take the fire, it started as a curiosity, and later they invented multiple things based on the necessity. So now you have a torchlight and you have battery powered, or you have solar powered. It all necessity, right? So from curiosity it becomes necessity. So now let's come to the very important point. I'm going to cover all the stuff whatever we discussed till now. So I talked about fear, I talked about scared, I talked about curiosity, necessity, all those things. Okay, so why we are covering fearlessness through curiosity? Okay, because fear is an emotion, as I said. Okay, and we have something called wonder. Okay, what if I cross this line after 6 p.m.? That's how cavemen came out of the cave, right? If they were still have the fear that night is going to kill them, or night is not safer place, they would have stayed in the cave itself. Okay, somebody had that curiosity to come out of that, and they want to try new things on the night, and that's how we came out of the cave. Okay, so curiosity lies between fear and wonder. So it is a two different extents, right? So if you go at this side, you will face fear. If you go this side, you'll have some wonder, right? So always try to have that curiosity in order to learn. Why I'm saying this curiosity is very important, because you learned VARK model and other four learning styles. If you don't have a curiosity, or if you don't have a necessity, you'll not learn anything. You will just for a sake, you will try to read it, or you try to consume that information. You will not definitely learn it. Maybe it will go and get stored in your subconscious mind. Okay, so that's why I want to bring this information there, which is a simple psychological thing, but it can bring a lot of wonders there. Okay, so what Einstein has multiple occasions he has iterated is, I don't have special talents, I'm very curious. Okay, what if this happens, or what if I try to bring something new? Okay, so try to be curious in order to overcome your fear. And if you have that curiosity, definitely you're going to end up in bringing up a lot of wonders there. Okay, that's the connection there. So if you ask me, you were talking about all these kind of psychological stuff. Okay, is it really going to help me in some way? Yes. If you take example, so this is something I categorize as evolution and survival instinct. Okay, so virus mutates. Do you know that? Yes, you know, because you have seen recently coronavirus. So everybody were affected, everybody were in a very worse situation, and they came up with a vaccine. And once the vaccine came into the body, so WBCs are created, and the inactive virus or the protein of a virus was injected inside your body in order to fight back the virus. So what the virus did is immediately it changes its form, because it has to live somewhere. Okay, survival instinct. Okay, it has to survive. So immediately the virus gets changes its form, and it tries to stay in the same host, or it tries to get into a different host. That's how it gets spread everywhere, right? And mosquitoes, it's a very classic example where you would have seen in memes or you would have heard from people, or you would have seen it in your real life. Okay, mosquitoes goes and sits on the coil or sits on the mat which is on, right? So you'll be thinking, why I have this to kill you, right? But you are sitting on the coil. How it happens? Because it changes its immune power, and that's why the companies are coming up with multiple options where it kills the mosquitoes, or at least it brings down the mosquito population, right? So mosquito tries to learn and tries to mutate, and they try to overcome the problem. It overcomes the fear, it overcomes the death. Okay, so also one interesting thing is, I want to show you a video. Okay, let me know if it opens and you're able to see it. Are you able to see it?
Yeah. I think it's a YouTube link, right?
Yes, exactly. So let me know after seeing this video what it tries to do. I think that is enough to understand, I guess. So what it does is it touches the live wire and see whether it is live or not, right? Maybe it was passed from its ancestor saying that if there is a wire, don't touch it. Okay, I don't know the elephant language, but by seeing this video, I just understand that it tries to learn based on its habitat. Okay, so it's looks into the environment which it lives in and tries to overcome the problems it has or obstacle it has. It learns from the experience, or it tries to get passed on from the generations to generation, right? So that's how every organism, every animal, everything learns from either experience, or it tries to it tries to see. You can see that the elephant is very curious whether it is live or not. So it tried multiple times, and then it stepped on the wire, and then it jumped up, and then it went away. Okay, so it learns the threats, it learns the issues, and it overcomes that, right? So but if you see 10 years back or 15 years back, you would have seen a lot of news is that elephant died because of electrocution, right? So it got an electric shock and it died. Now it is very clever, it learns. So now what I want you people to do is quickly list down, based on the VARK model or the other four learning models or learning styles, whatever you have seen, right? So you try to list down on your notepad or somewhere. You don't need to send me, but you list down. Maybe I'll give 1 minute. So you try to list down. So can any one person can quickly say what is your learning style in the VARK model? It can be one or it can be multiple. It depends on person to person.
For me, it's basically reading, definitely.
Reading and
yeah, reading and writing. And I would say that I'm a solitary learner in that the category that you have mentioned.
awesome.
I like to read and learn from that. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shubhak. So now I'll just quickly go to the next slide. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to create your own model. So if you're as Shubha said, he's a reading and writing person and he's a solitary learning person. Okay. So he has those two styles. But is it enough? No. Why? Because learning, yes, you can do it. You can use a solitary learning style, or you can use your visual learning style. It depends on your choice. But in order to become a quick learner, and in order to cope up with the fast moving world, so what you have to do is you have to set some primary and secondary, or primary and backup learning styles. Okay. So you want to identify what is your primary learning style. let's assume mine is visual, okay, and secondary is auditory. So I have something called kinesthetic and reading and writing as a backup. So now what I do is I try to utilize this primary and secondary whenever I get a information visually or I hear it in the audio. But let's assume it's not available for you in your project. That takes your time, where you lag, you take a lot of time, or you might miss some information where exactly you have to ask questions and try to immediately understand it and ask a question. So you might lag there, or you want to learn a new skill set. Let's assume machine learning or AI, you want to learn it. You will be trying and putting a lot of effort, but you are not able to learn. Why? Because you don't have other learning styles, or maybe you are so dependent on one single style, either visual or auditory or whatever it is, learning style. So you have to create your own learning style or learning model. Okay, you have to keep something as a primary and something as a backup, and you have to enhance those skill sets. It's not just that you keep it as a backup, but you have to enhance it. Okay, so you create a model along with primary and secondary lifestyle. Also, try to choose the necessity part or curious part. Okay, if you are curious in learning machine learning, it's well and good. Or your project needs are pushing you to learn machine learning, then it is also good because it's necessity, right? You have to learn it. So in that time, you will not feel bored, or you will not have a problem in learning in other backup learning styles. Okay, and also you have to avoid distractions. There is something called Pomodoro technique. Okay, where without any disturbance, you have to learn something for 15 minutes. You should not touch anything apart from your learning resource, whatever you have. Either it's a visual or audio, or it's a book or anything it can be. Okay, 15 minutes without interruption. You have to read it, and you have to take 5 minutes break. So you can avoid a lot of distractions and you can learn it. Okay, and next thing is you have to ask questions. Either it is yourself, or you have to ask the opposite person who is giving you that information, or it can be a product owner. If you're a developer or a tester, it doesn't matter. So if you're a product owner or business analyst are there, you have to ask questions to them and try to understand whether my understanding is correct or not, or whatever I learned now is correct or not. Okay, authenticate the information. That's what I'm saying. So try to get confirmation from either the opposite person, or you try to confirm from some authentic location where whether this information is correct or not. In recent times, you would have seen a lot of messages from WhatsApp University, or a lot of fake news gets spread immediately. Okay, so the same way you should not consume which is not at all authentic. So try to authenticate the information and try to learn it. And in the next process, what you have to do is you have to store it somewhere. It's not that you have to always depend on your brain, because your brain can store only few information, or it can keep it in your subconscious memory. So try to use some applications, or take your notepad or diary and note it down. Take your hints, or draw the diagram and try to learn it. Put an algorithm or something. You can do whatever ways you want to remember it. Try to note down and keep it. Okay, so that you can recollect that information at any point of time, because you will understand that hints, or you will understand the diagram easily. Okay, so next thing is you can use some tools as well. It is not that you have to be a very classic person. You have to use your diary, or you have to use your notepads. You can use apps. There are a lot of note-taking apps like Evernote or Notion or Obsidian, so that you can easily recollect the information whichever you want. Okay, so I personally recommend Obsidian and Evernote because I'm using it. So it is really helping me in retrieving the information quickly, and it is not taking a lot of time for me. And also I'm using something called Toggle. That is a Pomodoro app where you can set 15 minutes. So if you touch your mobile or you try to do anything apart from your work, so it captures those missing information, okay, or missing timelines where you got distracted basically. Okay, use those apps so that you can create your own learning model, and you can quickly come up with the questions or whatever it is. Okay, So last thing is, you have spoken about machine learning and human learning in the title, but there is no machine learning versus human learning. Now we are going to talk about quickly that. So in machine learning, what happens is it stores data, it creates association, it creates equation, it predicts based on the calculation, it predicts and keeps some information. It uses decision tree. It uses basically a memory, right? So in human learning model, how we store data is, how we store information is you store the data in your memory or store it in some physical form, like a diary or somewhere, and you try to associate with something, right? And you maybe having a title or date, or you try to have an association with that. And you might not 100% have some equations, but you try to run some equations in your brain here and there, not 100%. Okay. And also very important thing is what machine learning doesn't have is emotions, right? You try to tend to add emotions to your information. How? My father said that you can't learn cycling. Okay. I took it as a challenge. I learned cycling on my own without anybody's help. How? Because that I added that emotion that it is a challenge. I have to win it. Okay. So now in the future, maybe after 20 years or 30 years, if you come and trigger that memory also, it immediately triggers me the association with that and emotions with that, saying that my father said that you can't learn cycling on your own, right? It's a basic emotions you add to your information, but machine learning can't add those emotions. And we have something called short memory and long-term memory. Machine learning will not have short-term memory and long-term memory, but definitely it has metadata memory and maybe a huge chunk of information. It's a technical term, right? So we have something like short memory and long-term memory. So which you remember for that moment or that point of time. Long-term memory, you will be remembering where you were hurt or you got some emotions towards it, or there is something happened which you cannot forget at all. So that goes and stores in your subconscious mind and it stays forever. So this is how you can differentiate between machine learning and human learning. Why we are talking about machine learning versus human learning is, I asked you initially about what is the invention we had, first invention of a humankind, or I asked you a question, what can be the first footwear of a human? It can be a caveman or somebody, right? Immediately everybody answered animal skin or leaves or something, right? So you try to tend to do a reverse engineering of everything, right? You assume something, you connect dots, you took a logical information and you try to see what was there available that time. You can't say that uh, the caveman was using Adidas. That's a stupid thing because Adidas was a latest generation shoe company, right? So that time you obviously put a logic there where leaves or animal skin, which people used to wear it as a footwear, right? So the same way you try to reverse engineer your information that can easily bring to your conclusion of any information you are trying to consume. For example, here machine learning is very difficult to understand. No, it is not difficult because they try to replicate how a human brain thinks and access that information. They are trying to replicate as it is from your day-to-day activities or your brain, how your brain process it. They answer the questions almost like a human. How? Because they studied a lot of people and they came up with a reverse engineering to bring that machine learning model or the AI chat GPT or whatever it is. So try to put reverse engineering somewhere to learn. Don't think that you don't know this topic, or I never had this experience, or my company didn't give me an opportunity to work on this. Yes, I know that you need to have a experience in order to learn it quickly, but try to apply some reverse engineering there in order to gain that curiosity to learn something new. So that's why I was bringing that fear, scared, curiosity, necessity, and I'm trying to club it into one single place where in the learning model, you should have those reverse engineering, curiosity, necessity, and you have to put everything into a exact model, whichever suits you. I didn't say this is the exact model you have to use. It's up to you. You can use your own model, and you can be a quick learner. So how it is going to help me? Okay, so since I'm a tester, I'll take testing as an example. Okay, I got a story and I have to immediately test that story, but I don't know what is that. Okay, we are exploratory testers. We have to either, after the story is available, I have to pick up and try to test it. And once the implementation done, then only I can get the build and I can test it. But is it enough? No, because we need to think a little bit early stage, because as Moolya says, always prevent bugs. Okay, how we prevent bugs? Because we do a reverse engineering to go a step ahead and think about what if this happens. Okay, we put our reverse engineering psychology there, we put our curiosity there, we put our learning styles there, and try to learn that quickly. I might not have experience in that particular domain, or I don't have any information on the workflow or the end-to-end thing, or I never experienced this product at all in my life. That's why I asked you an innovative product. How a tester would have tested which is not in the market, right? Because they have to put their curiosity in place, and they have to put their learning skills there. They have to quickly learn it and they have to test it. What if Cred want to launch it in just 6 months, a new feature? They have to learn it, which was not existing before. So you put these reverse engineering into process, you put your curiosity there and learn it and execute it. You can come up with the bugs in the requirement stage itself, not even during implementation, not even during testing. You can come up with the bugs in the requirement stage, where you quickly learn it and ask right questions to the product owners, and look it into a unconventional way and come up with the scenarios and try to solve your problem there. You try to identify the issues or bugs there. Okay, so if you fix the bugs in the requirement stage, you are not going to waste your time in testing when it is implemented. You will be looking into other set of scenarios where you can test the edge cases or corner cases, because already you have solved a lot of problems there, right? So you can quickly do one round of testing and you can jump into the edge cases or corner cases. So the conclusion is, understand your learning style, come out of the fear. Okay, fear is just an emotion. Okay, it depends on person to person, I understand, but sometimes it is not actually fear. You are scared, right? You are scared to try something new. What if it happens? What if I fail, right? So you are just scared. So come out of that boundary. Don't sit inside the line, and you don't be in a comfortable zone. Come out of that. Identify your interest areas. Try to learn it. Okay, build your own learning model. Pick up something which is curious, or it can be driven via necessity. Okay, your project is pushing you to learn it. Don't worry, put this learning model into place and then learn it quickly and finish your work, and you can jump into anything which is giving you that curiosity, right? So you will be a quick learner. You will have deeper understanding, because if you apply these models, as I said, you're going to get deeper into the information. You're going to go into the pieces of the information, and you're going to try to understand and try to authenticate that information from your business owners or developers or whoever it is. And you will have the end-to-end learning from your project, and you can identify any problem and you can provide your solutions. Okay, also, it is not just that. You can build your own innovative tools for your problems. You can identify some problems and you can come up with the tools that can reduce your burden in doing a repetitive task. I'm not saying about the automation. Automation is something different. I'm talking about tools that can reduce your burdens. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shanmugam. It was an absolutely lovely session. So many learnings, so many takeaways. I am definitely going to make my learning model and use the app first of all. It's sad that we did not have a lot of people join in today, but all those who have stayed here, we saw nice participation. I am definitely sure all of them have taken a lot of learning. if we have any questions, we can take them up right now, or everyone can just reach out to you on LinkedIn as well. Do we have any questions, anyone? Okay. Cool.
Somebody,
Yeah.
um,
Today.
great question, much necessary topic in current situation. Thank you, Vaishali. Awesome sessions. Nice session. Thank you. Thank you so much for your appreciations. I'll try to bring up more information in future. I hope it helps you in some way, but it might tickle your brain in the future, not immediately at least, because it's a very unconventional topic which I picked up. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me anytime. Don't hesitate. I'll be there available.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Shanmugam. Despite being sick, you took the whole session and definitely so many learnings. We are looking forward to the next session that you spoke about on thought leadership. So until
Thank you.
then, thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye.